In the world of Stranger Things, where monsters from other dimensions and secret government labs are the immediate dangers, some of the most profound fears are the quiet, human ones. For Jonathan Byers, the shy, artistic, and deeply responsible older brother, the greatest horror isn't just the Demogorgon or the Mind Flayer. It's a ghost from his own past, a specter that haunts his every decision and shapes his view of himself, his father, Lonnie Byers. Jonathan's entire journey is, in many ways, a desperate and heartfelt battle against a single, terrifying possibility, the fear of becoming the man his father was. This isn't a fight with supernatural creatures, but a silent, internal war that defines his character, his relationships, and his very soul. To understand Jonathan's fear, we must first understand Lonnie. Lonnie Byers is not a complex monster from the upside down, he is a tragically common human failure. He is the father who walked out on his family, leaving Joyce to raise two boys in a small, struggling household in Hawkins. But his abandonment was more than just physical. He was emotionally absent long before he left, a man who offered only criticism and cruelty. He mocked Jonathan's gentle nature, his love of photography, his sensitivity, calling him queer and belittling his interests. Lonnie represented a toxic brand of masculinity, selfish, negligent, and dismissive of anything perceived as weak or different. For young Jonathan, his father's words and actions created a deep wound. A message that who he inherently was not good enough. When Lonnie finally left, he didn't just leave a financial hole, he left an emotional blueprint of what a bad man, a failed father and husband, looked like. And Jonathan, even as a teenager, carries the terrifying thought, is this my destiny? Do I have his blood, his flaws, his capacity to hurt the people I love? This fear becomes the silent engine of Jonathan's life. It explains why he is, at the start of the series, so intensely responsible and self-sacrificing. With his mother working long hours and often struggling with stress, Jonathan naturally steps into the role of a secondary parent for his younger brother, Will. He makes breakfast, does laundry, offers quiet comfort. This is not just brotherly love, it is a conscious, deliberate rejection of Lonnie's model. Lonnie was unreliable, so Jonathan becomes hyper-reliable. Lonnie was selfish, so Jonathan erases his own needs. He suppresses his own desires, his dreams of leaving Hawkins for New York to study photography, because the thought of leaving his family feels too close to what Lonnie did. His entire identity becomes built around being the opposite of his father, a rock for his mother and brother, even if it means grinding down his own spirit. His camera, the very thing Lonnie mocked, becomes his tool for connection, a way to see the world deeply and protectively. To frame and hold on to moments of truth and love that his father was blind to. The fear of becoming Lonnie profoundly impacts Jonathan's relationships, most notably with Nancy Wheeler. Nancy comes from a picture-perfect, yet hollow, suburban family. Jonathan, from the broken, weird Byers household, feels inherently inferior. When they first grow close, it's a mid-crisis, bonding over the loss of Barb and the search for Will. But in quieter moments, Jonathan's insecurities, born from his father's voice, roar to life. He cannot believe that someone like Nancy could truly choose someone like him. He sees her former boyfriend, Steve Harrington, initially popular, confident, from a good family, as the natural choice. Jonathan assumes he is just a consolation prize, a mistake. This isn't simple shyness, it's the deeply ingrained belief planted by Lonnie that he is not worthy of love, that he is destined to disappoint and be left. He pushes Nancy away before he can be rejected, a defense mechanism to avoid the pain his father inflicted on his mother. He is so terrified of being a bad partner that he often stumbles into being a distant one, struggling to communicate his feelings because he's spent so long burying them to be strong for everyone else. This internal conflict reaches a painful peak in the later seasons, particularly as the Byers family moves away from Hawkins to start a new life in California. Here, Jonathan's fear transforms from a quiet anxiety into a more paralyzing reality. Stressed by the move, the trauma of their past, and the pressure of providing for his family in Jim Hopper's absence, Jonathan begins to unconsciously mirror some of Lonnie's worst traits, not out of malice, but out of overwhelming fear and exhaustion. He starts to withdraw. He lies to Nancy about his college plans, telling her he's applied to schools near her when he hasn't, because the thought of her future success highlights his own feelings of inadequacy and his perceived duty to stay close to home. He begins drinking and smoking weed, not just for fun, but to numb the pressure. In one of the most telling moments, he gets into a reckless car accident while under the influence, endangering himself and his brother. In this moment, Jonathan isn't the heroic protector, he is behaving irresponsibly, selfishly, like Lonnie. The horror on his face afterwards isn't just about the crash, it's the realization that the ghost he has been running from is now staring back at him in the mirror. He has, in his darkest moment, embodied the very neglect and poor judgment he vowed to never repeat. Yet, Jonathan's story is ultimately one of overcoming this inherited shadow. He does not become Lonnie. The crucial difference between Jonathan and his father is Jonathan's capacity for self-awareness and his profound, unwavering love. Lonnie never reflected on his failures. Jonathan is haunted by them. His love for Will, Joyce, and Nancy is the anchor that keeps him from truly drifting into Lonnie's territory. His moment of reckoning in California forces him to confront his choices. He has a heartfelt, raw conversation with Will in a pizza kitchen where Will, in his own gentle way, calls Jonathan out on his behavior and gives him permission to chase his own happiness. Will tells him it's okay to love and be with Nancy, that the family will be okay. This breaks the cycle. Jonathan realizes that by trying so hard not to abandon his family like Lonnie did, he was abandoning himself, and that true strength isn't in silent suffering but in honest connection. In the end, he chooses to be honest with Nancy, to confront their future together with all its uncertainties. He learns that being a good man isn't about being a perfect, silent martyr, but about being present, communicative, and brave enough to love without the constant shadow of unworthiness. Jonathan Byers' battle is one of the most relatable and human stories in Stranger Things. It shows that the monsters we inherit from our families can be just as daunting as those from another dimension. His fear of becoming his father is a fear of failing the people he loves most, a fear of letting his own pain turn him into a source of pain for others. But through his loyalty, his capacity for introspection, and the love he both gives and finally allows himself to receive, Jonathan rewrites his destiny. He proves that we are not doomed to repeat the mistakes of our parents. By facing the shadow of Lonnie, by looking directly at that fear, Jonathan doesn't just defeat it, he integrates the lesson of it. He becomes not a copy of his father, but his own man, a caring brother, a devoted son, and a loving partner, whose strength comes not from never being afraid, but from choosing love over that fear, every single day. His story is a quiet testament to the idea that the bravest heroism sometimes happens not in the flickering lights of a haunted house, but in the quiet, determined decision to break a cycle and build something better.